Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says a proposed peace plan being discussed between the U.S. and Europe now includes the right elements, although sensitive issues remain. But after the talks in Geneva, the plan has been streamlined, and Zelensky says he'll now discuss the more delicate points directly with President Trump. And joining me now is Washington Stand reporter Casey Harper. Casey, this is exciting news. Where's the hope for ending this war in Ukraine actually coming from? And do you think there really is progress?
Yeah, Jody. Well, it's an interesting question. It's one that those all around the world have been watching closely as Rubio has been there for these peace talks. But the U.S. said it made significant progress on crafting a plan to end the war in Ukraine during those talks over the weekend, but no agreement was reached on how Kiev could get those security guarantees amid concerns, naturally, about the threat posed by Russia. Now, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, he led the talks in Geneva with a high-level Ukrainian delegation after Kiev and its allies voiced alarm about a U.S.-backed plan because what they saw and others saw as major concessions to Russia, and they pressed for changes.
It is probably the most productive day we have had on this issue, maybe in the entirety of our engagement, but certainly in a very long time. But work remains, and because this continues to be a working process, I don't want to declare victory or finality here. There's still some work to be done, but we are much further ahead today at this time than we were when we began this morning and where we were a week ago for certain.
Yeah, a lot of work to be done indeed. I think a key sticking points here, Jody, are the questions on the role of NATO and those security guarantees for Ukraine.
But how encouraging to hear that progress is seemingly really being made. Casey, I know another story that you've been following is a potential announcement from President Trump regarding extending Obamacare subsidies for up to 2 years. What are you hearing about that? What can you share with us?
Yeah, Jody. So the White House is expected reportedly to announce a plan to extend ACA premium subsidies for 2 more years. There's been reporting on this, and there's also reporting that they may be backing off of it because of pushback from Republicans. But there's a plan in the mix that could be coming out any moment. So as you know, Americans are facing steep Obamacare premium hikes at the end of this year. And without something being done, millions are set for major cost increases, which kind of proves the point what the critics have been making, that there's instability in these ACA marketplaces if they need these big cash infusions. So what about this plan? Well, the plan reportedly includes new limits, such as an income cap and required minimum monthly payments, which are changes that conservatives have been arguing for, though it's unlikely that they'll actually vote for any ACA subsidies. Now, health insurers saw their stocks rise after the announcement, even as questions remain on whether the Obamacare structure is driving premiums higher year after year. Republicans, they say Democrats were willing to let the government shutdown stretch for 43 days over this very issue. And now the question is this going to spark another shutdown in January when, as you know, Jody, Congress has to pass another government funding plan?
Wow. Yes, so much more ahead yet to go in that battle. Casey, let me get your thoughts on this one. A judge ruled today in the case involving former FBI Director James Comey. I thought it was very interesting. What was that decision?
Yeah, that's right, Jody. So we're talking about a procedural ruling here, but a very big one. So a federal judge has thrown out the criminal charges against former FBI Director James Comey and New York AG Letitia James, who famously went after President Trump. Now, this ruling found that the appointed attorney to this case was unlawfully installed by the president. Who was that? Well, it was Lindsay Halligan, a former personal lawyer to President Trump with no prosecutorial experience, and she was made the interim U.S. attorney in September for the purpose of leading these investigations. But now this judge is pointing to that very fact as the reason for dismissing it. So today's decision it's a major setback for the DOJ's efforts to go after these high-profile critics of President Trump, which are cases the president has publicly pushed for. But the White House says it's not over. The DOJ will appeal. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on, Jody.
Yep, and we certainly will be keeping an eye on it. Well, Casey, thank you so much. I know this is the week of Thanksgiving. Before I let you go, any Thanksgiving news out there for you?
Yeah, Jody, I know sometimes I'm the Debbie Downer here with the news, but some holiday news. The White House kicked off the Christmas season today. First Lady Melania Trump, she received the official Christmas tree, a fir from Sydney, Michigan. And she's celebrating, of course, the birth of Jesus Christ in this holiday season. White House tours are going to resume December 2nd after the renovations to the East Wing, including that kind of controversial new ballroom. But the President and First Lady are going to mark the Thanksgiving traditions this week, and President Trump is supposed to pardon 2 turkeys on Tuesday in this season of faith, family, and gratitude. But Jody, those initial reports that the turkeys were going to be deported, I can confirm that's not true.
All right. Well, it looks like a beautiful tree. I'll tell you, I always love that time of year. Watching the tree there being lit up is just spectacular year after year. Casey, thank you so much for the updates. We appreciate it.